So, kids getting a driver's license, huh? Clear the roads. Seriously, though, it's scary stuff. Your new driver hurtling down the freeway, to say nothing of the insurance hike. Oh, boy.
But really, look at the statistics. Drivers between the ages of 16 and 19 are much more likely to experience a collision. You don't want that. I don't want that. Heck, the government doesn't want that. And that's why states nationwide have adopted graduated driver licensing regulations. I know, it sounds complicated, but don't worry, I'm here to help. Welcome to Graduated Driver Licensing Made Simple. Now, each state has its own set of specific rules and regulations, but today we're taking a look at Washington. Meet Daniel and his mom, Kay. They're about to start on the great adventure of the GDL. Daniel just turned 16. In Washington, this means he's just old enough to apply for his instruction permit. Fortunately, he and his mom have even spent time together studying this year's Washington Driver Guide. All they have to do now is head down to the local DLO, where they'll both sign off on his parental authorization form and instruction paperwork. And he'll take the written driver's exam. 32 harrowing questions later, Daniel is a proud instruction permit recipient. Now the fun part. Daniel needs to clock 50 hours of supervised driving time, 10 of which must be at night, with a parent or someone who has been licensed for 5 years or more. Kay will need to sign off on a log and paperwork found in the Washington Parent Guide to Teen Driving that states that Daniel has indeed been practicing his lane changes and three-point turns. The supervised driving period is really important because it gives experienced drivers a chance to make sure that their protege is learning excellent safety practices behind the wheel. Now that he's got his permit, Daniel needs to spend at least 6 months working on his driving abilities under his mom's watchful eye before moving on to the next phase. Meet Amanda and her uncle Jason. Amanda is almost 16 and a half years old and just spent the last 6 months learning Jason's best tips and tricks for how to pull off the perfect parallel parking job, among other vital rules of the road. She's now ready to embark on that rite of passage, the road test. She and Jason head to the DLO, where Amanda will show off her shiny new driving skills. With a passing score here, she'll enter the intermediate stage of the GDL. Now she can finally strike out on her own in that brand new Mercedes, and whatever. She may be allowed to drive solo now, but there are still safety restrictions on her provisional license. Until she spent 6 months with her provisional license or turned 18, she can't have any non-family member passengers under the age of 20. After 6 months, she can have no more than 3 non-family member passengers under the age of 20. And there's definitely no cell phone use. For the first year or until she turns 18, she can't drive between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. unless she's with a licensed driver 25 or older. These restrictions are in place to minimize risk and distractions and maximize the experience the new driver gets. Amanda knows it's important to stay alert and aware while she's driving because the law has specific provisions for intermediate drivers. Repeated accidents or injuries caused by drivers with a provisional license carry fines and can even result in their license being suspended for an additional 12 months. After a year of safe driving with a provisional license, or once she turns 18, the state's safety restrictions will be lifted. Cell, texting, and wireless use is never allowed. Congratulations! At this point, Amanda is a fully licensed, unrestricted, ready-to-go driving machine. So let's recap. In Washington, at age 16, you can start working towards your provisional license by following these steps. Study the Washington State Drive Guide with a parent or guardian. Then, take the written driver exam at the DLO. Pass the test, and you will receive your instruction permit. After getting your instruction permit comes completing driver education. At least 6 months of practice time where you will drive with supervision from an adult who has been licensed for 5 years or more for 50 hours. At 16 and a half, you can head to the DLO for the road test. Once you pass the test, the provisional license phase begins. You can now drive solo as long as you follow the provisional license restrictions. For the first 6 months, you cannot have any non-family member passengers under 20. After 6 months, You cannot drive with more than 3 non-family member passengers between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. The nighttime driving restrictions stay in place until 18, and all wireless phone use is prohibited. Hopefully, this handy guide has helped you make sense of the ins and outs of graduated driver licensing. For more information and specific rules for your own state, check out impactteendrivers.org. Happy driving!